presentation on Barangaroo has been brought to the community on behalf of Lend-Lease. We intend to present a critical analysis of the development approval process and provide recommendations on how to improve outcomes for both Lend-Lease and the community in the future. Located on the western edge of Sydney CBD, Barangaroo is currently being transformed from 22 hectares of disused container wharfs into a spectacular waterfront precinct which opens the harbour up to the community. The site has been divided into 3 redevelopment areas: the Headland Park, Barangaroo Central and Barangaroo South. In 2003, the state government announced the renewal of Barangaroo. It was to be owned by state government and managed by a state agency. Originally this was the Sydney Harbour Foreshore Authority, and later was overtaken by the Barangaroo Delivery Authority. Because of the size and scale of the development, it was decided that it would be assessed under Part 3A of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. And under the Act, the final approval will be made by the Minister. Since the initial submission, 3 modifications were made, and in December 2009, after an 18-month competitive developer selection process, Lend-Lease were announced as the preferred tenderers to develop Stage 1 of Barangaroo, called Barangaroo South. It was the next modification, Mod 4, that had the most changes and was thus subject to the most rigorous approval process. Indeed, the Minister stated that it would be assessed as if it were itself a concept plan application. As required by the Act, Lend-Lease took public agency and community input on board during the approval process. Consultation took the form of events and presentations, community forums, newsletters, and the 1300 community inquiry line. There was also a dedicated website for Barangaroo South. Altogether, there were 4 revisions made based on merit, 2 before and 2 after lodgement to the Department of Planning in response to community and public agency consultations, as well as government body recommendations and requirements. After lodgement, the concept environmental assessment was placed on exhibition, and a post-exhibition review was conducted. A preferred project report was prepared in response to feedback before the final proposal was sent to the Director General and then the Minister for approval. Some of the changes included in the PPR were an increase in residential, community and public use in the core commercial precinct, residential use in one of the commercial towers, and reduction in the hotel footprint, just to name a few. There were over 14,000 people residing in inner Sydney itself during 2011 at the time of the lodging of the PPR. However, only 3,000 people visited the Barangaroo display on Hickson Road, only 400 people attended the community forums, and just over 50 people utilised the 1300 inquiry line. Some people arrived late and were not allowed into the forums due to maximum capacity, and some didn't feel comfortable participating. The truth is, according to the results of a consultation research program conducted by the BDA, not many people know enough about Barangaroo to make an informed opinion on it. What does all this mean? For the community, it means an inclusion of suggestions at every point in the process for those who engaged with the consultation. Hence, an increased sense of ownership over the development for those members of the community. However, other members of the community were left feeling as though their voice was not heard. Some felt as though Lend-Lease were just going through the motions and not taking other suggestions on board, but this is simply not the case. From Lend-Lease's perspective, so many changes and revisions have been made that the final plan differs significantly from the original that was the basis for Lend-Lease's win as preferred tenderer in 2009. These revisions required time and increased costs. So how can things be improved? The process will be more efficient and effective. There are high levels of community engagement and participation earlier on in the process. This means attending exhibitions, registering in advance for events to ensure a place, attending and participating in community forums, and staying abreast of changes via various relevant websites. Make sure you participate and let your voice be heard. On behalf of Len Lee,
Barangaroo. 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 Barangaroo.